Welcome to Scrambled, your space for fertility, owning your 30s, and the scramble that makes it all worth it. All right, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today, we are joined by Samantha Diamond. She is a founder and CEO of Bird & Bee, a company producing high-quality and scientifically backed fertility supplements and at-home tests. Sam has personally struggled with fertility and PCOS, which was a driving factor for her to come up with a solution. Sam, welcome to Scrambled.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So just to start us off, what's your story? How did you end up in fertility and how did you end up starting this company?
Yeah, it was kind of a windy road, but I'll give you the notes. In my mid-20s, I was diagnosed with PCOS. And the only reason I was diagnosed that early was actually because I was dating an OBGYN and who later became my husband. He was in his OBGYN residency, headed into fertility, later became a fertility doctor, but he's the one that diagnosed me and said, I think you have PCOS.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's
Young for a diagnosis of PCOS.
It's very young and it's not normally that straightforward. So armed with that information, I knew that we actually did have to start trying to conceive earlier than perhaps we were ready for, although not sure we're ever ready, but it was certainly on the earlier side. I like to joke I was like a child at that point, maybe 28 or 29 years old, which is young these days. So we started trying early because we had been armed with this information that, again, most people don't have access to. They don't have a fertility doctor living with them at home. And so we were going through the process of growing our family, and I began to struggle. So with PCOS, I needed help with ovulation. And then later in my journey, after I had my second child, I miscarried. And that was it was a devastating time for me, even though I understood the statistics. Like, I understand how common miscarriage is, but I was unprepared for the experience.
Yeah, I don't know if you can ever prepare for that. Like, I'm sorry you went through it. It's common, but that doesn't make it easy.
Yeah, it doesn't. And what followed was a longer and a more challenging struggle. And so I was referred in to see fertility naturopathic doctors as part of integrative care with clinic. And they gave me, an incredible protocol. I was on bazillion supplements. I was literally sorting them like pill by pill every single day. There was sheets and sheets of logs of information. Like, it was information overload. Again, even with a doctor in my home, I'm asking him all these questions about the naturopathic stuff. And he's like, well, that's not the kind of doctor I am. This is an entirely separate specialty. And it's an incredible addition to your care, but they're the experts in that. I was struggling trying to translate all the things that I was supposed to be doing. So at this time, I was in my first company and I was working in the beauty industry. And I had a marketing agency for all the beauty brands that you would recognize if you walked up and down the aisles of Ulta or Sephora. And my day job, was to translate very difficult science related to beauty products. Like, how do we use this product on our hair and why do you need 3 products for your curl and your, the shine and then something else? Or like, what is my skin type and what is the moisturizer I need and why? I did not study anything to do this. I studied communication and language. And so I'm going through this process while I'm working to help people understand how to look great. Mm-hmm. But why? I kept asking myself, like, I know what lipstick to use. I know what moisturizer to use, but like, I don't know anything about my ovaries. And that's kind of problematic. And so that is what kickstarted this journey and really sparked my desire to help other people understand their bodies and to allow them to be proactive.
That's incredible. So I guess that led to where you are now, and you are the founder CEO of Bird & Bee. So talk to us about Bird & Bee. Who are you? What are you? And why are you so unique and special?
Today, we have at-home tests that help you figure out what we call them fertility red flags and get you to see the doctor faster. And we have sets of supplements designed for each phase of the fertility journey, all the way through pregnancy and postpartum. They're designed by doctors who are on this shared mission with us to help everybody be proactive and really help fertility become more accessible through education and, again, through the products that you can use through this entire process.
And is this the first product, the first at-home products where you can test your sperm and fertility, or are there others out there?
Well, I'm sure that there are others out there. We're certainly not the first pregnancy test on the market. We've done things differently, and we've done them very, very intentionally. And, from something as simple as packaging. And that was one of the things at the very, very beginning that we said we didn't want to do, was package the products like the other brands. Because I was going through fertility and loss, yet going to the drugstore every week to buy my ovulation test, pregnancy test, prenatal vitamins, and there's pictures of pregnant women on every product, or there was a baby. And I was like, it's just unnecessary. Like, can't we just not have that like littered all over my bathroom counter? So when we talk about the way we put our product line together, that was very intentional. The sperm test is super cool. So this is a test that people can take at the very, very beginning of their journey or at any point in time. And this is your marker. Like, if you take this test, first of all, it looks like a COVID test, kind of. You mix a couple things up at home, you get the results to your phone in 15 minutes. So in 15 minutes, after what could perhaps be a pleasurable experience, you will find out if you have an issue with your sperm. And you will know immediately it is time to see the doctor. And here are the lifestyle interventions that need to happen today for you to start seeing actual results in 30 to 60 days. You can take a second test after 30 days, and you can track the improvement to your sperm. All of that at home. You can take the test to your doctor. So that's a super cool test. So our ovarian reserve screening test, so this was actually a first to market test. This was a test that we initially were supposed to launch first, but because of COVID, we launched last. This is an at-home FSH test. So you were both talking to me about low ovarian reserve. And so this is a test that's designed exactly like an ovulation test or pregnancy test. It's a little dipstick, and it's going to show you a positive, meaning high, if your FSH is over a 10. And that's your sign. You're going to see your doctor. It doesn't mean you're fertile, not fertile. It just means your FSH is rising. Your ovarian reserve could potentially be lowering. We don't know your timeline. Go speak to your doctor for a plan.
Does it work as FSH rises, AMH lowers? Or why would above 10 be a signal to say, go to your doctor and get tested?
So that is typically what happens. You would probably know better than me, but yes, typically your FSH would go high, your AMH would go low. And we would want to catch it early. And that's why our marker is at a 10. So we don't want to wait till you're at a 25 and, you're hitting early menopause. We want to catch it early so you have time to have that discussion with your doctor. That's everything we do is about being proactive and not reactive when it comes to reproductive health.
Like, straight away, we've been chatting for only 10 minutes, and you're probably saying things that are ringing in people's ears, because I think the convenience of not having to start at the doctor's office is going to be a big draw card for people. I think especially males who are not typically great at going to doctors. I work in a fertility clinic. We do semen analysis. Every man says to me when they have to come in and do a semen analysis, it's awkward, like they just feel it's not an enjoyable experience. So I think removing that is incredible. Where are you available? So are you international? Where can people get their hands on Bird & Bee products?
Well, today you can order us online in Canada and the US, and soon to be hopefully more available globally. In the US, we are now available at Ulta.
Oh.
And we've just expanded. We're going to be in about 1,000 stores as of April. So they've just expanded our reach. And we are on well.ca in Canada, which is the largest pharmacy online in Canada. And then we are also available in fertility clinics. So we're available where you see the doctors whose job it is to get you pregnant. There are many, many fertility clinics across Canada and the US that actually carry Bird & Bee, or are sampling Bird & Bee, or are telling their patients about Bird & Bee, which is a dream.
And I think it says a lot about the product, because fertility clinics and doctors aren't going to stand behind a product that they don't believe in. So I think that just shows the credibility behind your company and your product. So that's amazing. Aside from the at-home test, what are some of the other supplements or products that you offer?
So we offer a range of supplements based on the stage that you're in. So our fertility products, our preconception products, are intended for males and females. There's 2 separate products, and they are meant to be taken at least 3 months, ideally, before you start trying to conceive or before you're going in for an egg retrieval. And so this would be an ideal scenario. Obviously, if you have the ability to start earlier, it's always recommended because we want our bodies to be optimized. We want them to be in the best possible shape so that our eggs and our sperm can be in their best possible shape before you start trying to conceive, and your body has time to build up nutrient stores. And these were designed by fertility doctors and fertility naturopaths together based on clinical guidelines and evidence to support every single nutrient and antioxidant that is in the product, as well as the dose in the form of the vitamin. And so it's a lot of capsules in one little packet for the fertility product, but that's very intentional because you need all of those things. You need your micronutrients, your vitamins, you need your antioxidants to prevent damage to your cells, to your eggs and your sperm. You need your omegas.
This is the thing. Like, I even for myself, when I got chatting to the doctor, he recommended like 12 different supplements to take. So then I'm out at CVS picking up all these different bottles. Like, my fridge ended up just full of bottles and bottles of supplements. Some days I'm sure I didn't take all of them. It just was really overwhelming. So I'm frustrated that I didn't know about your product at that point, because if I had a pack to undo and just pop all those pills at once,
So much easier.
Mm.
I mean, and these sound like supplements that you can take your whole life anyway. They sound like they're things that are good for you, iron and omegas and whatnot.
Totally. Well, fun fact, anything that's great for your fertility is also great for you in perimenopause and menopause and beyond. Like, anything that's great for your cellular health is great for healthy aging, is great for energy metabolism. Like, these are things that are amazing all the way through. But we do have a specific product that is for pregnancy. We have specific product that is for postpartum and lactation support. And those are just it's a reduced amount. We don't have all the extra CoQ10 and antioxidants in there. We try to keep it a little more contained. And then we have additional layer of products for women who are experiencing really tough pregnancy symptoms like nausea. We made a gummy so that you can have a little treat. It's a little sweet and sour treat, and you don't have to swallow a pill if you're really feeling ill.
So we're chatting a lot about all the products you have, and they all sound amazing. But even before we started recording, you said there is a big percentage of your product that's selling to males for males. Can we talk a little bit more about male fertility or potentially male infertility? How prevalent is that?
It's pretty prevalent these days. I'm sure you see more and more of it at the clinic. It's up to 50% of cases involve a male factor. We know globally male sperm quality is on the decline. And nobody says for sure there's this specific reason, but we can assume that it is related to environment, diet, lack of movement, cannabis use, alcohol use. So all of the things that we know aren't great for our bodies, obviously aren't great for sperm.
I think what we're realizing, especially as we've started to like produce this podcast, we looked at our analytics, it's like 85% women. It feels like it's still very heavily a women's problem in quotation marks. Men are a big part of the factor though, like you said. When should men start to quote unquote care about their sperm health?
I think that we should always care about our overall health. And I think sperm health and sperm quality is like a 5th vital sign. So like, if there's something wrong with your sperm, there's probably something else going on. So I would say never reach a point in your life where you don't care about your health. But if you're really thinking about amping things up for fertility, it's always that 3-month window. Lucky for the men, they get the turnover. They get a fresh shot every 70 to 90 days, whereas obviously we're born with all the eggs we have and we've got to work with, what we were born with. But really, it's that 3-month window where you're not going to be drinking, you're not going to be smoking, you're going to be exercising, you're going to be sleeping. Here's a fun story about sleep. I was speaking with the director of a sperm bank in Canada. And it works a little differently with sperm donation in Canada than it does in the US. It's a lot more limited. And she works with known donors all the time. And she had a donor. She was telling me he was a known donor for quite an extended period of time. This was like his altruistic contribution. And they monitor the quality of the sperm every time the sperm comes into the sperm bank. And so he noticed he gave 2 samples, one after the other, that were very poor compared to previous, donations. And she calls him up and said, hey, just wanted to check to see if anything is going on in your life or like what's happening because quality's poor and it can't be used. And he said, oh, yes, my wife just had a baby like maybe 2 months ago and I haven't slept.
It's interesting too that the quality of sperm, I mean, I guess same as egg, can just fluctuate and go up and down just like that. You know, it's like you can take supplements and make it better. I think most people don't know that. I think people probably think, oh, it's bad, I'm done.
No, if you have an illness, like if you have a really bad flu or pneumonia or something, you'll see it in your sperm in the next couple months.
Because it's your whole body that's being affected.
So with for example, your at-home sperm testing, I'm assuming, especially with the variance of the fact that the turnover can be every 3 months, do you get more than one test out of the test? Does that make sense?
You get 3.
Okay.
You can track month over month. So we actually completed 2 studies, clinical studies on our male fertility product last year. And the second one was using the at-home sperm test. And so the participants in the study actually measured their sperm month over month for 4 months. And after the first month, after the first 30 days, there was the biggest jump in progressive motility. And it was, I think, maybe a 30%, I'll have to get the stat, but it was about 30% improvement after 1 month. And that's because, when the sperm are in the epididymis, they actually get all of this oxidation or antioxidant exposure. And so you can see an impact as little as 30 days, and then a sustained and improved impact over time.
Does age for males affect sperm like age for women affect egg count?
It does affect it, but not to the same degree.
Okay.
So for females, there is a drop at 33, 35, and then a really significant drop as we hit later into our 30s. And by the time you're 40, 41, your chances of conception spontaneously every month are below probably 5%. So it becomes lower and lower and lower, and your chance of pregnancy loss becomes higher and higher and higher because of chromosomal abnormalities as you age. For men, age does contribute. It contributes to miscarriage rates. It also contributes to rates of autism. It does impact the quality of your sperm.
I think that's a very common misconception for a lot of people. I think a lot of women think the same thing, but men definitely think like, oh, sperm's fine forever. It's women that have the biological clock that's always being spoken about. But it's being shown more and more that the decline in the health of your sperm is certainly affecting outcomes of children, even if you are able to have them later in life.
Yeah. Well, it's also too, women carry the babies, women grow the baby, women have the baby, women have to get the periods, if women have to go through IVF, they're the ones who have to do the shots and whatnot. So it's kind of just passed up on, the whole idea of male fertility in general. I mean, when we first started this podcast, I had one of my really good guy friends say to me, it's probably me who's infertile in the future. I mean, males are most of it. And that was kind of the first time I had heard it. And I was like, is that true? And then as we got going doing this, it was sparking more and more conversation when, I mean, yeah, it is 50-50.
It is 50-50. And it's really like male infertility is the only disease where if the person has the problem, it's their partner who ends up with the treatment. So all the more reason to get ahead of it, because if your partner is going to have to go through this process, like you better be on this journey together.
You better be on it together, or that's going to cause an issue.
And I think a lot of partners, even the most well-meaning, supportive, amazing partners, do feel in the IVF process really like they can't do a lot. They say that when they're there with their partner on the day of their egg retrieval, and then they have to go back out into the waiting room. They're like, she's done all the injections. Like, I feel useless. But to know that you can do something, you can care about your sperm health, you can adjust your lifestyle, you can take supplements. I think that's giving something back to the process and making it less of just a woman's problem.
Totally. And when you think about epigenetics, which has been a hot topic recently, male health at the time of conception does impact the health of the baby. So there are things that, will be more likely, like a higher likelihood of asthma and obesity and diabetes if the male is more unhealthy at the time of conception.
So sperm decides gender too, right? Sperm decides gender.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot more
People also don't know that.
No,
That sperm decides gender.
I think this is a big part of the larger conversation. That is the problem. We aren't educated enough in our schooling systems to know enough about our own bodies and our reproductive health. And then we suddenly get to an age where reproduction becomes our number one priority potentially, and we are equipped with very little information. I don't know if you found that from your consumer, that they probably come to you in a bit of a state of, what are we doing?
They do. I often answer the phones. I love to talk to our customers, and I think it's really important to hear from them what questions they have. And we pay a lot of attention, obviously, to the customers that come into our inbox. We have an incredible customer care team who dedicates, day in and day out to speaking with customers. And there is a very high percentage of very personal questions that often we can't answer because they're so specific and personal. You can see the dynamic is that people want more information, or they don't understand the information that they have at their disposal. So whenever we do a TikTok live with one of our doctors, there is nothing that gets more engagement than just having them turn on the camera and say, ask me anything. Because people are hungry for a source of information that is scientific and that can explain it properly.
Yeah.
Are your consumers, or I guess the calls that you get, males, females, both?
They're both. I would say there's more women that are calling in than men, but certainly I've had some great conversations with some wonderful men, sometimes calling on behalf of their wives or partners, sometimes calling with their own products. I love chatting with them about kind of like what their situation is, what they want to know, how to make things better. But definitely, I still feel as though women are leading the charge when it comes to the reproductive health journey. There are more men involved, and we sell a lot of male products. So they are in there, and they are starting, we call it share the load. They are starting to share the load a little bit better.
Totally. I think the share the load conversation comes up a lot when I'm chatting with my girlfriends about their partners, husbands, whatever. And it's like not just a within the household thing. Sharing the mental load of trying to family plan, I think, is a really important thing, because it's too hard to go through by yourself and be the primary person that is focused on trying to make it all work. So I think it's good that the conversation is growing and that more men are becoming a part of it. And yeah, it's just good to hear that you are seeing that from your side. I certainly see that on the clinical side as well. So that's amazing. I think that the desire to seek answers as well, I think men feel a little bit more ashamed maybe around talking about their sperm health. I think a lot of women sit down now and chat about their ovarian reserves if they know, or they talk about egg retrieval. Not many men are sitting there comparing their semen analysis to each other.
They're not. We actually sponsored a men's support group last year. So every month in 2025, they came together and I sat down with a therapist, and they all connected and talked about their journeys, because it can feel very, very isolating. When we think about male fertility, that's the way we're actually going to change the conversation from a public health perspective, because those are the people who also need to be involved. Like, we can't just change the trajectory of having better and more proactive reproductive health with only one side of the equation.
Yeah, that is so true.
I saw a clip of you in another podcast. You were talking about potentially choosing or leading towards the gender of your child.
Yes. I think it's an old wives' tale that we're not 100% sure if there's any validity in it, but it would be the timing or how close to ovulation you're having sex to help determine if it's a male or a female, because the old wives' tale is that the male sperm swim faster than the female sperm. I hope I'm getting that correct.
I think it's that they swim faster but don't necessarily last as long.
Right.
Whereas the females are a little slower going.
Yes.
But will endure for longer.
Yes. So if you have sex a couple days ahead of ovulation and not again, you're going to have more of the females who make it to
the egg.
Yes. So if that's true, it worked for my third.
Really? There you go.
So your third was not through IVF. Did you do IVF at all?
No, I didn't do IVF. No, I did medicated cycles and letrozole for PCOS to induce ovulation.
You created the product after you gave birth to all three, or midway?
Yes.
After.
although the product and the company started its conception after I had my second, and it took quite a few years to kind of get to the point where we were actually ready to start building the product and building the company. And we didn't start building and really fundraising to build the company until my daughter was about 1.
And with your product, the people behind it are not just doctors, right? It's more of a holistic thing. You have naturopaths involved as well.
Yes, yes. Super important to us to look at care as integrative. And so the naturopaths, Dr. Tracy Malone and Dr. Jennifer Fitzgerald, who helped us build the products and who are still involved in the company daily today, they developed the first integrative care model for naturopathic fertility doctors in Canada. So their clinic network is physically located inside IVF centers. And so their entire career has been practicing hand in hand with REIs. And their patients have an integrated care model where they have a care plan from both sides so that their lifestyle is optimized alongside all of their medication and their, your cycle protocols. And so we developed Bird and Bee to model integrative care. So we have the naturopathic side that has been developed again in conjunction with the REI side.
Incredible. It really is. I just think that's so important because when you look at infertility and all the factors that contribute to infertility, a lot of that is lifestyle. It's everything outside of what you have control over, which aren't really things that can be addressed by just seeing a fertility doctor. Yes, we can put you on pharmaceuticals and do things to stimulate your body and try and get outcomes, but we're not looking at that larger picture in that setting alone. Having that holistic approach, I'm sure, improves outcomes drastically.
Oh, it does. I mean, if you think about it on a super, basic biology level, like what you put in your body is very meaningful. The diet that you consume, nutrients, antioxidants, all the things that you consume, that's what powers your body and the functioning of your body. When you think about inflammation, like all the things that you can be doing to reduce inflammation, a lot of that is, from a lifestyle lens, it's movement, it's sleep, it's exercise and supplements, and it's weight training, and all of these things that need to happen in order to have your body functioning properly. So it's a piece of, like, we are whole people, and there are many pieces to the puzzle.
This is kind of an off-topic question. Why is weight training all the rage right now in terms of longevity, fertility, health in general?
We need muscle to support our bodies and the functioning of our bodies. And when you think about longevity, we think about a body that we can continue to move in that will support us, like physically support us for the rest of our lives. So we need to be able to pick ourselves up and get out of bed in the morning for the rest of our lives. When you are doing things like weight training, you're also overall, you're helping to reduce that inflammation in the body by making sure, again, that you are strong and supported. You got to make sure your protein intake is super high, again, to support the muscle formation. Weight training is excellent for people with PCOS. Again, really helps to support that insulin resistance. Weight training is excellent in general for all people, but the conversation about it now, I think, is at its highest because perhaps the conversation about staying in a state of, high cardio all the time is less great from the perspective of keeping your cortisol super high, and then your inflammation also stays high.
For some people, females specifically, you can put yourself into a state of losing your menstruation cycle by over-exercising, and that's often more linked to the overdoing it cardiovascular-wise.
But recovery is really important too. So in order to build muscle, we also need to recover. So you need to make sure that you have all of the elements needed to recover from that exercise. So you need to make sure that you're taking, your collagen, your creatine, your NAD, your magnesium, all the things that help our bodies to build the muscle, the building blocks of the muscle.
I know we have focused a lot on male fertility. That's what we wanted to just focus on today, but we do have a big cohort of people that have PCOS. And I know that you have spoken that that's been a diagnosis that you have dealt with since your 20s. Are there products in your company that are to support women that have PCOS?
Yes, this is like my own superstar product because since we developed this product and now I get to take it every day, I have a a regular cycle, not on medication.
Wow.
So that's been wonderful for me. We have an inositol or inositol cycle support that we have for people with PCOS. It's also helpful for anybody dealing with any form of insulin resistance, but it is dosed at a clinical level. So it's a 4-gram dose combo myo-inositol and D-chiro-inositol. And this is typically what fertility physicians and fertility naturopaths would recommend as a first line of defense for anybody who has PCOS or has PCOS-like symptoms, and is often used in conjunction with metformin to improve egg quality as well.
How about also for endometriosis?
We don't have anything that is specific for endometriosis. Generally speaking, the prenatal vitamins, the antioxidants, helpful overall for an anti-inflammatory state, although we don't have anything yet that is targeted specifically to endometriosis patients.
Does Burden B have anything, or will they have anything outside of just the fertility space, just for people that are looking to generally improve their overall wellness?
Yes. Well, generally speaking, if you are somebody who doesn't need a fertility multivitamin or prenatal vitamin, you should be taking a prenatal-like vitamin every single day, because we all need those micronutrients ongoing. And again, DHA to support our brain health, iron to support literally our entire bodies. If you're menstruating, you should be taking an iron supplement. So we always say you can continue to take the prenatal or postpartum product forever. But we did just launch a new product that's a collagen plus probiotic plus NAD.
Oh my God.
I need that.
Ting, ting, ting.
Oh.
This is my new baby. I'm obsessed with it. It is an individual little like stick pack. So it's 10 grams of collagen, and then you have a probiotic in it that is heat resistant, so you can mix it into your coffee or tea. You can also pop it into a smoothie. It's incredible for gut health, but it's also been studied for vaginal bacterial health. So your vaginal microbiome is also supported by it. And then NAD we love for generally cellular health, amazing for fertility, also amazing for perimenopause or anybody thinking about healthy aging. I should not forget to mention our calcium, magnesium, vitamin D. So that's my other favorite supplement. It's a nighttime for anybody. Fun fact about vitamin D. First of all, none of us get enough of it. Here in New York, at home in Toronto, there's not enough sun. I think 70% of our population is vitamin D deficient. And vitamin D, making sure you're getting quite above the daily recommended dose is actually what has been recommended by doctors. It's incredible for your immune system. So we all need a little bit more vitamin D, especially in these winter months when all these terrible flus.
I just learned recently, I see like a holistic doctor too, and I'm on different supplements. And I learned recently that certain types of calcium actually are better taken before bed because they can put you to sleep. And I guess horses, the way they train them, a lot of them send them to Kentucky to train for the Kentucky Derby because the soil is filled with something not calcium rich and it makes them all hyper. And then if they train anywhere else, the soil is usually calcium heavy, so they're a little calmer. So whenever you're training horses for a big race, you want to take them to Kentucky so they can eat that soil because there's not enough calcium in there, and then they go crazy. I just learned that. I know.
Fact of the month.
So the calcium magnesium combo is a great sleepy pill.
And they all work off of each other, the way that they all function in our bodies.
Yeah. And then you have one new product also, right? That you brought to us.
The lube.
Lube. This is actually something I wanted to say because I briefly said men coming into clinic, it's uncomfortable, whatever. A lot of the times in clinic for a semen analysis, we're very strict about what lubricant you use, and we're very strict about who can be with you to produce a specimen. At home, I guess it's more enjoyable of experience.
Yes, for sure. A lot of people don't understand that traditional lubricants shouldn't be used when trying to conceive. They can interfere with the sperm reaching the egg. Sometimes they can kill the sperm. We don't want that. So we worked with a company that developed sperm-friendly lubricant that is actually FDA cleared. So it has been clinically tested. And it has fructose in it that does support the sperm motility. And fun fact, because it's fertility friendly, it can't have silicone in it. So it's a water-based lube, which means it doesn't stain. So we all like that.
And I'm sure it's actually probably better for vaginal health as well
Yeah.
than a lot of lubricants.
It's pH balance, so it won't irritate vaginal health at all.
Amazing. Just to clarify, because I know that like in my clinic, they're very strict about lubricants that are used for semen analysis. When their males might be using your at-home testing kit, can they use lubricant?
You can use this lubricant.
This one.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside of that, you can't really use anything. Technically, you're not supposed to use a lubricant, but we also know that that's probably going to be very difficult. So this one is approved and it's fine, doesn't interfere.
Amazing. And all the results go to your phone. So you guys have is it an app or?
It's an app on the phone and it's completely private. So you don't have to share it with anyone, or you can go on TikTok and share it with everyone. It's up to you.
You do you.
Do you?
Might be very impressed with your
Looks
results.
good. Yay.
I feel like men would probably.
Men would love that if they got a
Perfect.
positive result. Of course.
I used to think that we were gearing up for a revolution where men would put like their sperm quality results like in their Tinder profile or something. But like perhaps we're still a few years away from that.
I
boy.
mean, you never know.
Hopefully.
For some reason, it's giving a little bit of a Handmaid's Tale vibe, but
Yeah.
you never know. We might end up there. 2026, you don't know.
One day.
Well, I'm presenting to Alta Associates across the US tomorrow on like a fertility 101. So we're actually getting education at the ground level to associates who are interacting with people across the country on an everyday basis. We're the only fertility brand in there right now. And so they're able to educate on some super basic stuff, not only just flag the products, but also, again, like talk about some of these red flags, talk about at a baseline, like what it looks like to be cognizant of your reproductive health. And they agreed to carry our male product beside the female. So we're a male product in a predominantly female store, which I think is just an incredible sign that we are en route to this like reproductive health revolution. I think if anyone can do all of the things, it's women.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.